Welcome to Endurance Noise and Random Musings. I'm your host, Andy Noise, and it is Tuesday night, April 6, 2021. First off, thought I'd go through Twitter stuff. It says, Happy National Student Athlete Day. We celebrate all the student athletes who work as hard in school as they do in competition. Keep it up. And, I competed in cross country, a little bit of track at UC San Diego, and enjoyed my student athlete experience. And in a lot of sports, it is the case. But, of course, the NCAA championships just ended yesterday, basketball. And, they're making billions of dollars off these young men, and they're not getting anything but supposedly education. I really think they and the football players that support, they definitely need to get paid. So my take on all that, I guess, is what I'm saying. This was kind of interesting. They've been talking about Kipchoge running a marathon before the Summer Olympics. After running a marathon on Formula One track, that was when in Italy on the Monza track, the Formula One track. In fact, I remember I was up at a campground above Lone Pine waiting to do Mount Whitney the following day and watching him run on that track. He just barely missed breaking 2 hours. I think he waited 2 hours, 23 seconds. So he's going to be running. He did it on a Formula One track, and they were going to do it somewhere, but now they were going to do it in Hamburg, from Hamburg to Enschede, Netherlands, on a specially designed course on the airport, which will be closed for the general audience. But this NNN guys do a really good job of streaming and putting it on the internet, so I'm sure it will be on there. So that's coming up on April 18th, so I'm looking forward to following that. Floating up here, it was kind of interesting. We were having this conversation on the Clubhouse app with the Jester and my walking friend, Bob Davison, who's really got into the whole breathing thing, the Wim Hof. And I just listened to a podcast by Joe Rogan where they were talking to another guy about how important breathing is. And now Podium Runner says how learning how to breathe better can chill you out, improve your heart rate variability, and enhance running performance. Why you should train your vagus nerve. So some good stuff. Probably will do a complete video on that in the future. Moving up here, I guess Magic Johnson made a lot of news today. He tweeted out a photo of him running up some stadiums and saying, "When are the Olympics?" And he said, he said, "I'm a big track and field fan, and I watch every year. Does anybody know if they'll have qualifying races for the Olympics?" And of course, Tokyo Olympics texted him, tweeted out to him, "Hey, Magic Johnson, you can watch the U.S. Olympic track and field channels from June 18th to the 27th on NBC and NBCSN." And I'm really looking forward to that. I'm paying for the Peacock Network, which is really nice because you get to see all that track and field stuff where you used to have to pay a lot more extra. So be looking forward to those trials. My Instagram feed is full of athletes who didn't make the marathon team, and they're all training hard for the 5K and the 10K, and of course a lot of them out training for the 800 and the 1500. Thought this was interesting. Outside says, "When I mentioned my surprise that there's such a vibrant reptile had been alive since the Reagan era, Brown reminded me at least two snakes he caught may be Nixon era, around 40 to 50 years old." Yep, didn't really realize they lived that long either, but they're cold-blooded animals, and those things live quite some time. I mean, look at the turtles in the Galapagos. They've lived lots long life. Kind of brought this up, too, because we've been out hiking the past couple times, and we've been seeing snakes out at Hart Park. Of course, we've only seen gopher snakes, no rattlers yet. I always tell people, if you want to see snakes, head out in like April, May, and then September, October here in Bakersfield, California. And then people say, well, how come you don't see them, in June, July, August? And I go, because snakes are smart. They're not out here hiking in the heat. They're hiding out. So we definitely run across quite a few snakes in Bakersfield, California. Never been bit. No one's ever really gotten bit. But we have kind of the milder version of the rattlers, especially. They kind of just get out of your way. Though it's interesting, one time I was out hiking and we were coming back down, and I look on the ground and you could see this bird was struggling for its life, and it turned out a rattlesnake had caught a juvenile hawk, a Cooper hawk, I think it was called, and the Cooper hawk was getting strangled and killed by the rattlesnake. And I think it made the fatal mistake of not killing the snake when it flew away, and then probably flew up and the snake bit him, and that poor bird was definitely goner. It was kind of interesting. The rattlesnake was actually trying to drag it into the sagebrush, and it was amazing too. You're thinking, how's it ever going to get that big old bird in its mouth? But must have. If you're looking here on my Instagram, I'm just posting some photos from 2015. There's me and the Jester at Beyond Limits, which is going on this weekend. I'm not competing in it, but I may drop in. I'm hoping to figure out that. And then some more. There's old Ed with his Keep Calm Gesture shirt. These, of course, are from 6 years ago. And then we've got my dogs. There's there's the Chug, Mr. Boo on the right. Maddie, who passed away. I can't remember this guy, but he's out there many times. Another person out on the mile after blanket mile run. In fact, that shirt is made by my good friend Tracy B, who is just putting together some more clothing line on Shirt Your Mouth. So go check that out. Stacy Costa, coached her for over the years and gone to many races where she's crushed 24-hour races. She wins lots of 100-mile races as well. Did 130 miles up at the Dome. And she's out here running around at Blue. And then there's Carla Kent with the bunny ears on, and she has finished Badwater more times than any other woman. And I crewed and paced her at Tahoe 200 as well. And I think she's running with Brian Recor, who's also done Badwater. I'm not really sure. I don't think, that's not Brian. So, dang it. And then some other photos from 2015 is Zach Bitter. This is Zach. He, was running some great performances, and he really wanted to set a world record, and at least American record, on the 24-hour or 12-hour course. And so he's going to do it solo because he didn't really want to have to run around everybody. And so his sponsors here in Central California, and so they went hunting around for tracks. They ended up finding this Kingsburg track, which my friend Scott Newton, he grew up in Kingsburg. He's known the Soul to Soul shoe stores here in Bakersfield and Fresno. So Zach went out there and decided to go for his record. And the rules say you have to have a couple competitors in the race. I think it was 3. So I walked around in an outer lane while Zach went flying around at sub 7-minute pace after 5 or 6 hours. So he came up with a leg issue and decided to call it quits. But it was really fun just to watch Zach. And it was pretty warm that day, even though it was in April. And, of course, he's later on at the Dome. 2019, when I was over there, he broke the world record in the 100-mile and I believe in the 12-hour. And also, like this summer, he broke the world record on a treadmill, 100 miles, which is just phenomenal. This one was kind of nice. I saw this one. I retweeted. Ultra sign-up says, Gnarly. U.S. qualifier for the World Championships is here. The Nar is a fun, breathtaking race that will send you to the top of Mount Hood Ski Bowl and back down in just 6 miles. Runners start by running the Nar Trail about a mile up. You'll head over to Low Road and then up Horse Trail. And so this is going to be a race that's coming on. And the Nar is the host of the 2021 USA Track and Field Mountain Ultra Running Championships, and it's a selection race for the U.S. mountain running team. Interested in qualifying for World Championships? You can register on Ultra Sign Up. So that sounds pretty cool. Thought I'd retweet that. And then going up here, lots of companies are kind of got stuff kind of going on. This one was Max King said, hey, you want to go to Moab for 4 days in May for an all-expense paid Solomon Running Academy? Application is open in their bio for 8 youth and 8 adults selected to the Solomon Running Academy. We're not looking for just anybody either. We're looking for good people with good community, people that are blazing trails, whether in a race or just down a new path in the sport, and that can take the sport to the next level. I'll be one of the coaches, but man, we're getting old and need some new influences in sport. Courtney DeWalter will be there coaching as well, although she's not as old as me. Fill out the application. You have until April 23rd. So sounds like a pretty cool venture, and definitely spending some time with Courtney. I've been at races with her. It would definitely be very, very much fun. So, and then this picture, some pictures from 2013, Google Photos. I go through them, and it says, on this day. This wasn't actually on this day, or I've been going through my photo album, but this is 2013. This is Cody Logan from Bakersfield, California, out there, and there he is finishing. I think he was one of his first 100. It was his first 100. When Soul to Soul was here in town, and Scott ran it, and still around, but Scott Newton was an ultra guy. And one year, probably it was 2012, he had a young man that I showed a picture of yesterday, Garrett Mann, working for him. He came into the store like the week before Javelina, and said, hey, Garrett, what are you doing next weekend? And Garrett's like, oh, I don't know. And he goes, well, you're going to go to Javelina and run the 100 miles. And so Scott would pay for his entry fee and took him. And I dragged Garrett around the course, and he ended up finishing. And then, of course, here's Cody, and he did really well that year at the race. And there's my buddy Tracy B., who I was talking about, Shirt Your Mouth, back in 2013. Here in the hotel, getting ready. It's also a contest, a costume contest. So she was wearing her Dare shirt. And here's Jacob Herman, who is now, I'm not sure, I guess he's like the co-director of Angel's Crest. 100-mile race, an epic race here in Southern California. He also puts on a race in Switzerland, where he's originally from, and he's, of course, dressed up Javelina. And then this is Hal Corner. It was great to see Hal. He won it that year. He, of course, puts on the Pine to Palm race, and he was crushing 100-milers in the early 210s for sure. And then, of course, Catcher Corbett, who I will probably be seeing soon in the next weeks or so. She's at all the races. Here she's got her costume on, and she regularly wins. And then this picture was really cool. At this year, I had destroyed myself at a 100-mile race a week before, so I couldn't do much more than sit. And so we were hanging out at the aid station, and back then there was 6 laps, but the people come back all the time. And Ian Sharman had just won the Grand Slam of hundreds. Here he is throughout the summer. Here he is sitting there talking to Tracy B. Well, both of them kind of dropped out early, and Ian was like, yeah, doing all these races in the summer was kind of a mistake. And then he hung out there, and hanging out with us there that day, we also had Ann Trayson spend the day with us, Scott Mills from San Diego 100, and then so it was just a who's who of great athletic talent and great coaches. Of course, Ian Sharman coaches. And, it was a really cool experience to be there that day. And then, speaking of great athletes and also coaching, is Zach Bitter, who is going to be at the Jackpot 100-mile USA track and field race in Vegas at the end of April. And I definitely plan on going there and covering it. And Zach was having kind of giveaway with some training programs he's put together. So you can check out Zach's Instagram and get more updates on that. And then, let's see. Oh, yeah, this was kind of cool. NASA had just announced their new Crew 2 astronauts, which is very exciting. The next crew to launch from the Kennedy Space Center, and I list all the people, and they're going to be lifting off on April 22nd at 6 in the morning. It's the first commercial crew flying 2 international partners. During their stay of approximately 6 months on space station, the astronauts conduct science and research in areas such as medical technology, human health, and materials to benefit life on Earth. Sounds pretty cool. I like the outfits. The new they almost don't look real. Very strange looking. And then I just got this from YouTube. I've had 100,000 views, so thank you all for viewing it. And please hit subscribe if you can. And then we'll go off and look at some of my training. You can tell the effects of my 100-mile week last week. The fatigue's 133. The fitness is good, but that form minus 21, I need to bring that number to the positive range for the Burroughs race this coming weekend. Of course, I got up this morning, did a warm-up on the spin bike, did a little bit of kettlebell, went on, did a 60-minute run walk, then I walked home, and then this afternoon I jumped on the treadmill. Swift was giving me problems again. Man, it keeps just not getting a hold of my watch, so very irritating, but I did a 30-minute run on there, and then I did some more kettlebell. I say, more kettlebell. No. So that was that. And then if we look on my data from Fitbit, the resting heart rate's going down, which is a good sign. Working out today definitely didn't hit the high rate. Heart rate is just so low. These damn beta blockers really put a curb on it. In fact, when I was doing my morning workout, it was kind of fun. On Clubhouse, there were a couple guys from Finland and Norway, and they were talking about heart rate monitors. And I was telling them how that the beta blockers really retard my heart rate, but they really help me in my poker. In fact, I'm right now playing poker, and it looks like I'm going to cash. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye on that. Nothing's coming up, so it's kind of to play well in poker, you got to fold a lot of hands. So I'm just kind of no problem here. God dang it. And there's another fold. Fold maybe. It's kind of like running. 80% of the time, just going easy. 20% of the time, gets a little harder. And in fact, I often tell people that playing poker is a lot like crewing a race, and that it's just hours of boredom and then seconds of sheer terror when you get a good hand or when your athlete comes into the aid station and you don't want to screw it up. So sleep, 4.5 hours, getting better. Sleep score is still terrible. I did take some naps during the afternoon. The workouts, of course. It did think I was doing elliptical this morning. I was trying to run, but it doesn't think I was running. and working better on the old fluids. Still want to try and get 96 ounces, but I'll take 72 ounces.